The containment facility hummed with the low frequency of quantum stabilizers, their electromagnetic fields keeping the visitor from phasing through Earth's dimensional substrate. William adjusted his glasses and stared at the being on the other side of the reinforced glass, his heart hammering against his ribs despite 3 years of xenological training. She was beautiful in a way that made his brain ache, tall, luminescent, with skin that seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously. The translators rendered her voice into something almost human, but William could hear the subsonic harmonics beneath, frequencies that made his teeth vibrate. "Human," she said, and the word carried weight as if she were tasting it. "I came here because my daughter wants to see you." William blinked. Of all the first contact scenarios he'd rehearsed, this wasn't one of them. Your daughter. The alien woman. The classification team had designated her species as dimensional transitionals, or DTs for short, inclined her head. The gesture was eerily human, probably learned from Earth's broadcasts that had been leaking into space for decades. "My name is Maya," she said. "And yes, my daughter, she is 7 cycles old. In your terms, approximately 9 Earth years." William's supervisor, Dr. Chen, spoke through his earpiece. "Keep her talking. We need more data on their social structures." But William barely heard her. He was fixated on the impossibility of the situation. The DTs had appeared 3 months ago, their ships materializing in orbit like thoughts becoming solid. They hadn't attacked, hadn't made demands. They'd simply observed. This was the first time one had requested direct contact. "Why me?" William asked, his voice steadier than he felt. "I'm just a linguist. There are diplomats, scientists far more." "You wrote a paper," Maya interrupted, and something in her multitonal voice suggested amusement. "On the linguistic implications of nonlinear time perception in hypothetical alien species. My daughter read it." William's mouth went dry. That paper had been published in an obscure academic journal 2 years ago. It had received exactly 43 downloads, most of them from his own computer as he'd obsessively checked the metrics. "Your daughter reads human academic papers on xenolinguistics." "She reads everything," Maya said, and now there was definitely warmth in her voice, a universal quality of parental pride that transcended species. "She is what you would call gifted, exceptionally curious about your kind. Our kind is trying to figure out if yours is planning to invade us," William said before he could stop himself. Dr. Chen's voice crackled in his ear, sharp with warning. But Maya's expression, if the subtle phase shifts in her luminescence could be called an expression, seemed pleased. "Honesty," she said. "Good. My daughter values that. She says humans are the only species she studied that consistently lie to themselves before they lie to others. She finds it fascinating." She studied other species. 47 sentient civilizations across this galactic arm, Maya confirmed. "But yours is her favorite. She says you are the most contradictory. You understand the mathematics of your own extinction but continue as if you don't. You know you are alone in consciousness behind your eyes, yet you build elaborate systems based on trust. You are simultaneously wise and foolish, cruel and kind." William felt a chill run down his spine. "And she wants to see me because you wrote that language shapes reality, not merely describes it. Because you argued that a species experiencing time nonlinearly would develop grammatical structures we couldn't comprehend, and yet you tried to comprehend them anyway. Because—" Maya paused, and her form flickered slightly, uncertainty perhaps. "Because she is lonely." The word hung in the sterile air of the containment room. "Lonely?" William repeated. "She's part of an advanced civilization that can traverse dimensions. How is she lonely?" "She experiences time differently than others of our kind," Maya explained. "She perceives causality as a web rather than a stream. She sees decisions and their consequences simultaneously. It makes her isolated. Other children her age cannot understand her, but your paper suggested that perhaps a linear species might offer a different perspective, one that could help her understand her own nature. Dr. Chen was practically shouting in William's ear now, something about authorization and protocols, but William pulled out his earpiece and let it fall to the floor. "You want me to talk to your daughter?" "I want you to teach her," Maya corrected. "About linear time, about human language and thought, about experiencing each moment as it comes without seeing the branches of what might be." "I don't understand. If she can already see all possibilities." "She sees the mathematics of them," Maya said, and for the first time, William detected something like pain in her voice. "But she cannot feel them. She knows the equation of joy but has never experienced surprise. She understands the probability of loss but has never known the present moment of love. Your paper spoke of language as the architecture of consciousness. I believe you might help her build something new." William's mind raced. This was insane. First contact, and he was being asked to be a tutor to an alien child who existed partially outside of time. Every protocol demanded he defer to his superiors, let the proper channels handle this. But he thought about that paper, written during a period of his life when he'd felt most isolated, most convinced that his work didn't matter. He'd argued that language wasn't just communication but the very structure of how minds organized reality. If Maya's daughter experienced time as pure mathematics, as simultaneous probabilities. "What's her name?" William asked. Maya's luminescence brightened, a smile perhaps. "In your phonemes, it would approximate to Kale, though the full designation contains harmonic components your vocal apparatus cannot produce." "Kale," William repeated, testing the sound. "When would this teaching begin?" "Now, if you consent. She is waiting on our ship. We would need to bring you aboard, as she cannot yet stabilize herself in your dimensional frequency." Every rational part of William's brain screamed warnings. He'd be leaving Earth, entering an alien vessel, no backup, no protection. But he thought about a 9-year-old girl who could see infinity but didn't know what it meant to live in a single moment. "There are people who need to approve this," William said. "Governments, militaries, the UN." "By the time they approve," Maya said gently, "she will have already experienced every possible outcome of their deliberations and grown bored. She experiences your entire civilization's timeline simultaneously, William. But she wants to experience a conversation with you, moment by moment, the way you do. That is something rare for her, something precious." William looked at the panic beginning to unfold on the other side of the observation glass, Dr. Chen and the security team mobilizing. He had maybe 30 seconds before they locked down everything. "How do we do this?" he asked Maya. She extended something that might have been a hand, phasing it through the supposedly impenetrable barrier as if it were mist. "You simply need to trust me. The transition will be disorienting, but harmless." William stepped forward and took her hand. Her touch felt like electricity and music, and the sensation of falling asleep all at once. The containment room began to pixelate around him, reality itself becoming uncertain. "Why did you really choose me?" he asked as the world dissolved. "There are better linguists, better teachers." The last thing he heard before the transition completed was Maya's answer, rendered in perfect, unenhanced human speech. "Because 3 years ago, you lost someone you loved. You wrote that paper while grieving. You understand what it means to exist in linear time and wish you could see just one more moment with them. My daughter needs to learn from someone who knows the value of a single present moment, someone who knows that limitation creates meaning." Then William was somewhere else, standing in a chamber of impossible geometry, and before him stood a small figure, luminescent and flickering, looking at him with eyes that contained galaxies. "Hello, William," said Kale, her voice like wind chimes. "Will you teach me what it means to be surprised?" William smiled, despite everything, despite the impossibility. "Yes," he said. "Let's start with hello." The end.